All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for an intimate look at awareness. This is the second session of this series, but not to worry if you have missed last week's session. It is available on YouTube. So our presenter for tonight is Francis Lim from Singapore. I want to introduce him as he will be introducing himself. So Francis, take it away.
Okay. So my introduction starts actually on the third slide. So okay. I'll just have a little bit of this. I made a first slide about the programs, the upcoming programs for the World Federation of Young Theosophists. So today, this week is my program on about is peace, happiness. And of course, the next week will be by Brendan Go. His sharing will be about am I, my emotions. That will be on the 1st of April. And then the following one is Awareness and Learning by Mary Kay on the 8th of April. So please note this down. You can take a screenshot or whatever, or something like that if you want more. Or you could refer to the group chat on the I think it's a youth forum group chat. Yes. So let's go on to the first slide. Very cute. So the subject of my sharing today is peace, happiness. So I'm actually from the Singapore Lodge, and my introduction will be on the third slide. But let us first start with a universal prayer. How about that? So let us put our hands together. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Okay. Let us first move on to my short introduction. So my name is Francis, and I'm from the Singapore Lodge. And I have done many things in my life before, if you were to ask about my career. But academic-wise, my background is in engineering, and I came across Theosophy back in 2019, I think. So I've been a member of the TS, the Theosophical Society, for almost 4 years. And of course, look at the slide. I do have a short summary of my spiritual journey. So it's my experience in a nutshell. So what happened was that I think most of us that are here, we used to feel that we have lived a normal life to a certain extent, to a point that maybe something dramatic happened and made us realize that we are actually not very satisfied with the status quo, what the world has been telling us, or the society or the people that we know has been telling us about what life should be about and what we should be trying to achieve in order, to a certain extent, to quote unquote, to be successful with life. And this has been extremely obvious in my life, at least. And that was when I realized that I'm actually not very happy. I feel, to some extent, I feel that my life, the past almost 3 decades of my life, seemed like a lie. And then, of course, that is the time when I start to realize that whatever I've tried to achieve, and I have been trying to achieve and achieved, is not something that made me happy. I could buy things that I like, look for things for hours, thinking that buying this thing will make me feel complete, finally. Or having a certain kind of shirt, dress, gadgets will make me feel happy. Or being accepted by some group of friends, at least friends that I think who are important, that I need their validation or acceptance. And it made me realize that all those things I try to achieve are not things that actually make me happy, because every single time I get it, the happiness only lasts for a few seconds or a few minutes, at least for what I know. Maybe for the first time I feel accepted by my friends or groups of friends, popular group of friends in school. Maybe I'll be happy for a day, and I may not be able to sleep at night, first night. And then it comes to the fourth point. I start to question, is it all that is physical, material, emotional things that could possibly or seemingly make happiness fleeting? Do I actually need to find a kind of a purpose to make me feel meaningful and happiness in life? And of course, I went to do lots of different kind of journaling, planning, to having a purpose, constant purpose, the purposes that never lose their value or it's timeless. For example, like looking to help to make the world a better place. You cannot, it's something that's timeless. Like the world can be a better place every single day or every single second, but you never finish to a certain extent. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll just do it in this way. But somehow I realized every single time I give some help or some kind of service, seemingly making me or things feel meaningful, it does give me a certain extent or certain intensity of joy or happiness. At least what I think happiness or joy is at the point of time. And I realize it's the same thing. Like this kind of joy or happiness doesn't seem to be consistent or constant. It is something that it feels like it's still fleeting. Like as before, any kind of material achievements or any kind of intellectual achievement or any kind of achievement I've actually achieved, it seemed fleeting similarly. Then I think, maybe it's all the things, the little kind of achievements are not the things that is supposed to give us happiness, even a purpose. And of course, over a few years, I asked myself, so there's a 0.7, which is maybe all I want is just a peace of mind, or maybe some kind of emotional or mental breathing space from everything else. Like people, from people who maybe tell me what life should be, maybe from things or tasks that make me feel that those kind of tasks could be only giving me just fleeting happiness or joy. And then once again, of course, the first thing if we were to think about peace, or so to speak, Zen, could actually be meditation as a start, or going into various understanding of exploration of various kinds of religious or spiritual practices. And of course, the first thing I went into is the most accessible in Buddhism, at least for me, the lowest hanging fruit for me. I went for Dharma classes. I started to learn more about meditation. And of course, as we all know, if any one of us that does the classical meditation, is that I can feel the zen, the peace, the quietness, the silence. And when we get out of the meditation sitting or the session, it could be within like 5 minutes and someone just pisses you off again. And then once again, I ask myself, or at least I realize this seemingly repeating pattern, is that why is peace not constant? Am I getting this all wrong again? Or is it peace that I think peace is not? Or the happiness or joy I think is not? So that was my journey. And of course, it was until very recent then I realized otherwise. So let's move. Maybe it's just going through a thought process that I did for myself by asking the first question. Oops. Okay. First question. What is the purpose of life? Okay. So we can be doing all kinds of things without purpose, without a certain direction, and sometimes it makes us feel lost. And this was the first question I asked myself, because I think in a very, very normal sense, the first thing when we feel lost, one of the first things that we may go after is to look for maybe a sense from a point of view of self-improvement, personal development. Wait, can you guys hear my WhatsApp notification? It's a bit loud. Let me switch off my WhatsApp first. Okay. So the first thing that I asked myself was, what is the purpose of life? And I think most of us do ask this question as well. And maybe we could go through this and see if we have the same kind of answer. So is life purpose about finding meaning? Like a kind of a pursuit of personal fulfillment and happiness? I think like in some of the sessions that we have in our lodge, I think most of us do agree that we actually want to finally be happy. And the thing is, the only challenge here is, how do we actually achieve happiness constantly? I think this is the common sentiment where we realize the sense of joy or happiness is always fleeting. And of course, what's next? Could the purpose be about contribution to the society, like in the form of service, or making a positive impact on the world? It could be that. Or is it about spiritual growth in the form of self-discovery with ultimate goal of enlightenment or transcendence? Or is it, as we know, in the theosophical tradition, fulfillment of the divine plan? I think this is something that's more obvious to us when we are in the TS. It's like to follow a particular spiritual path, or by serving a higher power or purpose, or maybe just knowing that we are part of the evolution. Yes. And this is just 4 examples, right? But is that it? So I have this cute little video that I actually saw it on TikTok. I didn't even actually watch this movie before. I find this short clip very intriguing. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the sound. I hope so.
What does that mean?
To take something in.
Okay, excellent. To absorb. Anyone?
Everywhere, all the time.
So what is ubiquitous assimilation?
Always absorbing everything everywhere all the time.
Well done, George. How are you to imagine anything if the images are always provided for you? Who here read 1984 last year? Good. Anyone? Meredith?
Having two opposing beliefs at once, believing that both are true.
He always like his dick. Fucking kiss it.
To deliberately believe in lies while knowing they're false. Examples of this in everyday life. Oh, I need to be pretty to be happy. I need surgery to be pretty. I need to be thin, famous, fashionable. Our young men today are being told that women are whores, bitches, things to be screwed, beaten, shit on, ashamed. This is a marketing holocaust. 24 hours a day for the rest of our lives. The powers that be are hard at work, dumbing us to death. So, to defend ourselves and fight against assimilating this dullness into our thought processes, we must learn to read, to stimulate our own imagination, to cultivate our own consciousness, our own belief systems. We all need these skills to defend, to preserve our own minds.
Ah. And this is an interesting video, of course. Pardon the crude language. And of course, the part about preserving the mind, this video could be interpreted in many different ways, right? And what is the message here that I want to put across is that are there things that we are going after? There are things that we know that is false to some extent, could be conscious or unconscious. We know it's false, but we still act the way we think that it is true. Let's think about that for a moment. Oops. The question is, what is happiness? Right? We can have purpose. We can be doing all those things. And of course, through various religions or any kind of philosophy, to some extent, we understand that everything is impermanent. Everything. I mean, the only thing that is permanent is the impermanence, right? But what are we actually looking for? And what is happiness? I think these are the things that we all understand and we have been trying to do, or it's part of our lifestyle, or even like our life mission. Life mission. Is it through creation, through art, music, writing, inventions, technology, or any form of self-expression? Do we look for happiness this way? Maybe some of us do, because definitely I am. Or are we looking for happiness through positive impact? It's very similar to the purpose of life that we were the past few slides. Positive impact through activism, volunteering, or any kind of career that aligns with values and goals. Like it could be in the healthcare, it could be in the education. It really does help to move humanity forward, right? Or do we look for happiness through experience? I think many people, including myself, okay, is do this. Okay, we travel, we try new food, good food especially. Maybe adventure sports, adventures, or pushing boundaries. Or do some people commit their entire lives looking for happiness through finding a partner? I mean, a romantic partner, of course. Someone who shares similar values and goals. To have deep, meaningful connection. I think especially for this similar values and goals, I think there are many people out there, including myself in the past, really, really wish and hope and pray for someone that could live a life together, doing the same thing, having the same kind of goal, having the same kind of hobby, passion, love for life. And of course, that's the best if it is like through all this tree, right? If I could find a partner that could experience happiness through creation together. Right? It could be someone that loves music, and you want to be with someone that's good in music, someone who's good in dance, especially. And you can dance with your partner and then experience a sense of joy or peacefulness, or any form of career, especially that aligns with values and goals. You can serve the world or experience the world or life together. Interesting point. Is that it? It could be more. There are many people in the world. Everyone could have different kind of ways to experience, to define what happiness could be for them or us. And of course, for what we can think from the 4 points just now are the things that are actually very, to some extent, lofty, or something that's more interesting. But we want to really look at the things, the typical things that we do in our daily lives. What are those? Excessive consumptions. Material possessions, buy lots of things, enjoy food, law. And of course, there are people who indulge in drugs, alcohol, smoking, or any other form of sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure is like all kinds of senses, including excessive indulgence in art, music, or any form of anything sensual. May or may not include sex, sexual activities, or addictions. And that is for excessive consumption. And of course, what's next? Constant stimulation. Watching emotional or mental stimulating shows, TV series, movies, or playing video or mobile games. I think there are people, most of us, we do know people that are always on the phone playing games, stuff like that. Or indulge in other forms of hobbies. Okay, the thing here is you can enjoy all these kind of things. There's definitely objections in this. It's like, I can't watch shows at all. I can't play any form of video games or enjoy any form of other healthy hobbies. Of course we can, not to the extent of excessiveness, or not having all these kinds of consumption or stimulation control the decisions that we make in our lives, or because of the lack or absence of all these things, make us frustrated or angsty. And there's an objection, okay? And of course, the third one here is actually role and identity focused. I think this is something that's more low-key, subconscious. I think all of us, I think one of the most classical examples for this is something that I realized, okay, when I actually watched a TED Talk some years back. There's a question about how do we actually introduce ourselves when we meet someone new in maybe a networking environment, or meeting your friend's new group of friends, your friend's group of friends. And of course, we always say, my name is so and so. My name is Francis, and I am an engineer. Okay, and when we really think about how we introduce ourselves, we often think we are them, we are it, right? It's like, I'm Francis. Or do we actually mean, my name is Francis because the name is mine, the name is not me? Or, I am an engineer. Or is that my job? Or am I the identity? And of course, you can join any kind of society or associations or groups. You could identify yourself with the group identity. Okay, once again, it's not about, you shouldn't be. Because if you're a member of the TS, you could call yourself a Theosophist. But that's a name. It's the sense of awareness that we have that this is something that we have. But it's not I or me. And I think most of us, when we do all this, like I'm an engineer, I'm an artist, I'm a dancer, I'm a musician, I'm a so-and-so. We speak as if we are that. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Some of us, when we lose our identity, we lose our job, or we lose any form of ability to function. Let's say if you are someone that lose function of your body, for example, if you are paralyzed, you do lose the identity. And of course, most of us, if we do lose the identity, or any form of group identity, we do tend to spiral. When people ask, or I wouldn't say if people ask, it would be very, very difficult or frustrating for us to attend any form of networking or any form of social activity. Because when people ask, who are you? Or what's your name? Like, what do you do? We somehow feel like it's very difficult to describe ourselves without all those things. And if we go for any kind of, once again, networking, if I am from a big company, I could speak with more confidence relative to someone that has no job, unemployed. I may be speaking like, I am looking for a job right now. And volume may be lower than if you had a big backing in your job. And I think most of us, at least for what we know last time or in the past, or at least a certain stage or part of our lives, we do identify ourselves to our jobs. And naturally, after looking at the different kinds of typical things that we do to make us feel happy, or at least satisfied or validated, the next question that came to me was, what is peace? Because we know that happiness is fleeting. so to speak, of at least what we think happiness is. The next question was, what is peace? Because peace, to me, previously, hasn't been consistent as well. I could achieve peace if I'm alone, and so many different kinds of ways to define what peace is. And here we have 4. Is peace about physical solitude? Like doing things alone without a hint of annoyance and irritants or irritation from people around you? Or is peace about mental solitude? Absence of other aspects of life like work, family, relationship, commitments, so that we can do things that we like in peace? Or is peace about emotional solitude? Comfortable in our own skin, self-acceptance, and unbothered by judgment or criticism? Is peace for that? Maybe. Or is peace about absolute silence? The inner quietness in the midst of daily chaos? Maybe. What is it that we actually want? Are we actually looking for peace or happiness in every single thing that we do? Are we trying to work harder so that our boss will not nag at us? Or are we trying to be proud, to have someone to be proud of us? Maybe. Maybe these 3 things are the things that we actually sought after, at least for what I feel that I could see in my own experience. He said, I want 0 stress every day, not wanting to be told what to do, and not having to be who we don't want to be. Sounds familiar? Or do whatever we want to finally live our dreams with no form of any restrictions, in the sense of commitments, of relationship commitments, or any kind of family commitments, financial commitments, or accountability. Right, pure freedom. Maybe we want that. Or maybe we want to be finally accepted and not having to keep chasing after things, status, or achieving things to make us feel recognized or validated. I need to be this, so that who and who will think better of me. Is that it? Maybe. I think a lot of us, we're just so tired of doing all this stuff. And sometimes we just feel that, is it time for us to just take a break from everything? Switch off the phone, travel alone to somewhere, by the beach, sitting there for the whole day. I don't know. Or driving for minutes or hours. That's what I like to do last time. If I would need a peace on my own. Maybe. But is that it? Happiness, peace, purpose? Probably not. And of course, again, I have another short video here. This is something that I watched on a plane when I was on my way back to Singapore. In-flight entertainment system. Very interesting. Let's watch this.
Hey, Francis, there's no sound.
What?
No sound.
Eh. Let me see. I thought I shared the sound already.
Or we can read the subtitles.
Yeah, let's read the subtitles. Then I'll just explain a little bit later.
Back again, Helen. I see that you, like so many before you, have discovered the delights of the mirror of Erised. I trust by now you realize what it does. Let me give you a clue. The happiest man on earth would look into the mirror and see only himself, exactly as he is.
So then it shows us what we want, whatever we want.
Yes, I know. It shows us nothing more or less than the deepest and most desperate desires of our heart. You never know your family. You see them standing beside you. But remember this, Harry. This mirror gives us neither knowledge nor truth. Men have wasted away in front of them. You are not man. That is why tomorrow it will be moved to a new home. And I must ask you not to go looking for it again. It does not do to dwell on dreams. Get to it.
It does not dwell to do on dreams and forget to live. Yeah, so I watched Harry Potter, the first one on the plane, and somehow I got so intrigued by this scene, right? Like Dumbledore was saying, a man who actually stays in front of the mirror and has gone mad. And this mirror has never given any form of truth or knowledge, if I do remember right. And what are we actually after? This may have given us more hints to it. And the possible reasons that we may not have figured this out. Firstly, at least for myself previously, it's a lack of introspection. Absence of reflection on thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Not aware of the underlying issues for the feeling of disconnectedness. Or we always seek validations externally through the sense of perfectionism or even the social media likes or achievements driven to feel worthiness. And of course, other reasons like avoiding emotions, overworking, staying busy, doing busy stuff, or doing busy work, having superficial conversations, or even suppressions of feelings. Like, we really take notice about all these three reasons. We do tend to understand that all these are karmic factors. Like all these things that we do, or things that seemingly veils us from the truth. As like we always forget the sun that's behind the clouds. And we think the clouds is the sky or the sun. It's like a veil. And of course, there's this, I'm not sure anyone doesn't know this, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? This is basically what is defined as stages of people's needs, right? Of course, the first thing, I mean, looking at all the mankind civilization, how civilization or mankind progress over the years, centuries, or millenniums, physiological needs is always the first thing. The shelter, you have food, water, warmth, and rest. Basic needs. And of course, safety needs as well. When you sleep, you don't want to feel like there's an animal that's going to attack you somehow. Or someone that may have any form of negative intention that may hurt you. These are the basic needs. And of course, the next three are the things that we are more familiar with, at least not for ourselves or maybe people around us. The sense, the need to feel belongingness and loved could be one. Or even esteem needs. The feeling, the sense of prestige and the feeling of accomplishment. Or self-fulfillment needs, right? Which is self-actualization. And when I really look at this chart again, I realized these are interchangeable. What do I mean by that? Some people tries to achieve their full potential in order to feel the sense of belongingness and love. Maybe. Or some people needs the sense of feeling of accomplishment to feel loved or validated by someone important or loved ones. Or some people needs love and belongingness in order to be able to feel confidence of getting any form of self-actualization. Maybe. Like, I need someone in my life for me to be able to actualize myself. Or I need to have a certain form of belongingness or love or in relations in order to be able to accomplish big things or any form of achievements, not necessarily. Or even if I have achieved belongingness and love, I can finally go around having my safety needs achieved. Let's say you have a support of your family, relationships. You feel confident to go out and work and become the sole breadwinner, or any form of physiological needs as well. I bring food to the table. It drives me. It's a motivation for me to be functional in life. But is that it? I always like to ask this question, is that it? Because I realize sometimes we just take things as it is when it's presented to us, like the first video that I put. How can we imagine when all the images are fed to us? So let me tell you a little bit of the stages of my progress or my spiritual journey. Is that when the first time that I joined the TS is the first time I feel or experience my first thoughtless, silent meditation, classical meditation. It was actually during the one-day meditation retreat. So no one speaks. You can drink water, but mostly it's chanting meditations. And it is the first time I actually experienced the sense of quietness. Meditation without any form of monkey mind. It's truly wonderful experience. And as we know, I think most of us do experience this sense of quietness, regardless. It could be once, it could be many times in your life. It's an amazing experience, but it never tends to last. And of course, that's the first time I feel the first level of quietness. And the next one, surprisingly, that was almost like 2 or 3 years after. It was during the youth convention in Aden. It is the first time I feel or experience quietness outside of meditation. When as I walk, and as I breathe, and as I talk, and as I think, the thought is just the thought. There's no like, I know I need to do this, I need to be like that, I need to be, there's no such of all this nonsense. And that was the time I realized there could be quietness quieter than quietness. At least what I think quietness is. And then the following stage or progress was when myself, and a few groups, few individuals, the other youths, some of the other youths from the Singapore Lodge, we went to India, Dharamshala. That was the time I start to experience the depth of quietness or silence that could just exist even without any form of meditation. It could just be there, peaceful, very quiet internally. Of course, it doesn't last again. It's not consistent always. And then, of course, the next level is actually very recent. It was actually in Adia, the international convention. I think it's like 2022, 2023. International convention in Nadia. It's the first time I experienced silence with an emanation of joy and happiness just from that. And it is not something stimulating. Like when we first see, you guys remember the first time you meet someone that you like last time when you're young? Or the first time you go on a date with someone that you liked? Maybe a little bit of the butterflies in the stomach, or some kind of nervousness, or some kind of stimulation is so loud and obvious that it's not there. This is the time I realized the things that I think, or the things that I thought was happiness or joy or peace are not happiness, joy, or peace. It is the first time I realized happiness is happiness. And it's there. It's always there. It is like the sun behind the clouds.
In
And
meteorology, a cloud is an aerosol consisting of a visible mass of miniature liquid fluids,
my Siri, sorry.
or other particles suspended.
My Siri talking. Okay. So what did I realize? I realized the sense of completeness. You know, there's this mantra I always talk about last time. Is that I have all that I want. I am all that I need. There's nothing else that I need. There's nothing outside of this that I need. And of course, authenticity is to do what's right, but not what's easy. I think that's one of the most important things, because most of the time we make our decisions based on what could be easier. And a sense of quietness, when thoughts are just thoughts. And that's when the light of intuition comes forth, when the dust in the air settles. And of course, there is also the importance of service, to share the treasures of realizations that I found. I wouldn't credit to myself. I would credit to my karma. And I'm really grateful about this realizations. And I hope that by this moment, we realize that the things that we all go after, or at times where we feel irritated or annoyed or frustrated, could also be because of the resistance or the obstacles for us to achieve all those kinds of, so to speak, happiness or peace. Now, perhaps nothing but desires. Just desires. Things that make us feel validated. Essentially, that's what makes money move, right? Economy. I think I need this. I need this amount of money. I go make this amount of money, and I spend the money. And then if I need more expensive stuff, I make more money, and I spend more money. And after I get it, I become happy for 5 minutes. Happy, so to speak. And then I go look for the next one. And then I make money again. And I buy the thing again. Or I experience using the money again. Become stimulated or happy, so to speak, happy for 5 minutes again. And we keep going on and on and on and on. I hope that we all realize by now at least a little glimpse of what could possibly be the pattern of our life, in the sense of the personal life. And I have a little quote here. It's not really little. It's like 6 lines. It is like braving the fiercest storms of the seas in the smallest of boats, holding on dearly to your desires like fine sand with your bare hands, and trying to paddle your way to the opposite shore. Can you hold the sand and paddle? It seems like the sand is something so precious. You can try and eat it, you can choke. You can try to breathe in, you get choked. You can put it in your pocket, you feel weird. You put your phone in and everything is sandy. We're going after things that we feel that makes us happy. And instead of paddling our way to the opposite shore, we hold on to this sand. Is it counterintuitive or logic? Maybe. But most of us still do this. Even in the smallest sense. I think most of us do. And I would like to have a short meditation. Short one, really short one. And the structure goes like this. Okay, if you guys know the yoga of light here, I'm holding here on the camera It's a small booklet, it's palm size. It's a book by Jeffrey Hodson, The Yoga of Light. I'd like to start with this short version. Oh, I forgot to change the subtitles for each point. But the Yoga of Light is something that resonated with me when I first joined the TS in the form of a guided meditation. Why? It's actually a lot about dissociation of the identities to the physical body, the emotions, and the mind. Dissociation. Okay, the first time, of course, when I started practicing this, my intention was to destroy the personality or the mind. No thoughts. If I have thoughts, I'm not peaceful. I have no thoughts. And if I have no personality, I'll finally be peaceful because I will not be annoyed. Because I have no thoughts, I'll be peaceful, I'll be quiet. But we all do know, as all the levels of spiritual planes, the subtle planes, all the way to the physical plane, for things, for the energies to be able to manifest a lower place, it has to go through all the different bodies. And as we know, the lower personality, the personality is of the nature of the lower mind or the lower mental plane. If we kill the personality, how could the rest of the bodies actually be able to express the higher, so to speak, the higher will? It's broken. So then I realized it's all about dissociation, trying to not be identified with all these lower bodies. Let it be the tool of the higher. So when we go through this yoga of light, please keep in mind, okay? And of course, we will try and do deep breathing, abdominal breathing. If most of you are not familiar, it's actually using the movement of your belly, abdominal, to encourage the expansion of your lungs downwards, and not only just using your chest to breathe. And then perhaps if we have time, we do a little bit of body scanning. It's to improve the sense of awareness. Because ultimately, when we really look at trying to practice to become quiet, we first have to be used to techniques, or we have to practice to some extent to first understand or experience the first moments of quietness, at least the first time, at least, as much as possible. That's why, like, you know, even not in religious or spiritual practices, even for any form of personal development, we always recommend meditation in the classical sense. And yeah, we should do that. And it does enhance, or it does give rise to an increasing sense of awareness. And of course, what's best? We should start become aware of our physical body. Most of us, we don't even know that we are tired until we really lie down on a bed, or we don't really know we are tired when we finally sit down, trying to practice meditation, and then we fall asleep. How numb are we to our body? Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Okay, definitely. That's why I understand this. And during the body scanning, we try to release any form of tension as much as possible. So this will be actually the short meditation. Looking at the time, it should be 10 minutes or so. Short one. So let's get to meditation time. So sit straight. If you want, you could stand. Close your eyes and relax your shoulders. Body relaxed. Emotions harmonized. Mind alert and charged with will. We now start to place our awareness on the top of our head. Become aware of any sensations on the skin of your face. The coolness of the air, or the warmth of the sun outside of your window. Moving down to your neck. Become aware of any form of tension and sensations. Breathe in and out. Breathe in with your stomach. And out. As we move our awareness to our shoulders, become aware of any form of sensations. Down our chest and upper back. Breathing in and out. Become aware of abdominal, of the sensations. And then to your lower back. And down your hips. To your thighs and hamstring. Feel any form of sensations. Breathing in and out. And in and out. And moving the awareness to our knees, down to our cuffs and shin. Become aware of any forms of sensations. Breathing in and out. And as we place our awareness on our ankles, down to the heels, through the feet to our toes, feel the sole of your feet. Become aware of any form of sensations. Breathing in and out. And in and out. Know that these sensations are part of your physical body. I am not the physical body. I am the spiritual self. And as we zoom out of the cells of our body, visualize a vessel of colors, bigger or extending from your physical body. Become aware that emotions are colors. In turn, expressing itself through the physical body as stimulations, any sense of pleasure, the quickening of your breath and your heartbeat are all expressions of colors of emotions of the astral body. I am not the emotions. I am the spiritual self. While having your awareness on the colors, now further zoom out. And try to see the thoughts that we have. Is bothering us, or the thoughts we have been thinking and holding on from the past few days, weeks, or months. See the thoughts are thoughts. Which in turn asympathetically express itself through the astral body as colors, changes. I am not the mind. I am the spiritual self. I am the divine self. Immortal, eternal, radiant with spiritual light. I am that self of light. That self am I. The self in me, the Atma, is one with the self in all, the Para Atma. I am that self in all. That self am I. The Atma and the Para Atma are one. I am that. And that am I. Bring the center awareness into the formal mind, illumined and responsive to the intuition. Into the emotions, irradiated by spiritual light. Into the body, empowered by spiritual will, inwardly vitalized and self-recollected throughout the day, remembering the divine presence in the heart. The inner ruler immortal, seated in the hearts of all beings. Relax the mind and permit the uplifting effects of the meditation to extend into all the other activities of the day. Meditation is now concluded. Slightly longer than 10 minutes, my bad. That's why I had to accelerate it a little bit. So, I suppose next is the Q&A and discussion.
And Francis, before we move on to that, did you want this to be recorded or not? I can stop it if you don't.
You mean for the Q&A?
Yeah, it's live on YouTube right now, and we'd cut it off if you don't want this recorded.
And I'm actually okay for anything. We could record it, or if anyone who wants to ask a question, may not feel comfortable to be recorded. Is there any opinions about this? Anyone?
I think we can just stop the recording as a standard since we're doing.
Okay.